What's the best thing you've done in Freshers Week so far?
That I can say on camera or not.
What were your interviews like? Your
Cried
stuff?
so much.
I have this small inheritance
I'm
thing
actually
where I am
descended from,
part
like,
of the royal family. Because there's so much maths in first year.
I'm terrible at maths.
Good luck with that.
I'm so excited.
Hello, lovely to meet you. Who am I here with?
I'm Tom.
I'm Kai.
I'm Jack.
What college are you at?
We're all at Somerville.
Okay, nice. I mean, sorry. I was just thinking of Margaret Thatcher.
No.
No, they've hidden her away. She's in like a little bus thing in like the corner. The Margaret Thatcher Centre is completely separate from like everywhere else.
And what do you study?
I'm doing history.
Chemistry.
PPE.
A nice mix. Wow. Are you all freshers?
Yeah. Yes.
How are you finding it so far?
Clubbing wise, it's, you know, up and down. Depends.
Mostly down.
It's classic. First thing any fresher goes to is clubbing. I just said, how are you finding it so far? And you're like, oh yeah, the partying shit.
We went to Plush a couple nights ago and that was pretty rubbish. Like, I mean, yeah, the clubbing isn't really... I've noticed as soon as I've actually started doing some reading, I can't be hungover.
Well, I don't think most people come to Oxford for the nightlife,
Yeah,
so...
but I mean, I won't stick to that. Like last night I insisted I wasn't going out and I ended up in Attic until like 2 a.m.
What's the best thing you've done in Freshers Week so far?
That I can say on camera or not.
Hey, it's up to you.
I don't know, I think the formal dinner was actually really good. It was a really nice experience. History's on the top table, so it felt really cool. Somerville has its own wine, so I drank a little bit of that.
A little bit.
Fancy meal. It was nice to like meet everyone on the course and all the tutors, and all the tutors were really nice. I know that you might have had a different experience. No, I loved it. It just went straight to politics. Full on debate going.
What was the debate?
We had someone who's a bit more conservative on our course, who seemed a bit outnumbered, to be honest. I felt slightly bad for him, but he nailed it. Like, he was pushing hard. And then one of my tutors was staunchly anti-monarchist, so it was this whole Republican and monarchist. I loved it, though. I was like looking around, I was like, how the f*** am I in Oxford having a debate with a tutor about the monarchy?
Where do you stand on the monarchy?
I have like a weird position. I don't really know, because I have this small like inherent thing in me, which is like slightly patriotic, but then looking at it in any rational way, I think, like, what's the point?
I thought when you said inherent, I heard like inheritance. I have this small inheritance thing where I am part of the royal family. From a legal perspective, it's just weird that they still technically have the power.
This was the argument we were having. My tutor was pointing out the fact that Parliament has no capability to debate abolition in any way, because they have to swear allegiance to the crown.
Pledge allegiance
to the band of Mr. Schneebly.
What's your favourite history fun fact?
Napoleon wasn't actually small. He was average height for the time, because there's a difference between how French measure inches with the Americans. So he was 5'4" in French inches, but in American it's actually like 5'8", which is perfectly normal for the time.
5'5" is not even that small.
Giant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't destroy his confidence.
But didn't they also say that he like it was significantly smaller? He sort of was down here. This is weird. He would like put his little legs into bigger legs or something like that.
Brits say whatever we want about French people.
So basically, Napoleon is as tall as Rishi Sunak.
How tall is Rishi? Because I remember there was that picture with him and some number 10 staffer. It literally looked like it was a guy taking his kid to school. It was so funny how the smallest person there who looked tiny was the like most powerful man in the country.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Right, what's your favourite fun fact?
It's more of a history one. Aqua Tofana in Rome, she would make all these poisons to kill the husbands because divorce wasn't a thing. She like killed over 100 people, and they went to the police because some girl who was 15 bought poison from her and messed up the system, and the police just didn't believe a woman could do that, so they just didn't arrest her.
The Roman police were just like, a woman killing someone? Nah.
No, never.
Well, patriarchy has some benefits then, I guess.
This is probably why you're going to be on a list when you graduate. It's the fact that you could just go around poisoning like hundreds of men.
Yeah, you're going to learn how to build a bomb. No, I can't put that on the TikTok. You study 3 subjects, so just like pick your poison.
Can I steal history?
Subject. I mean, to be fair, history always has the best fun facts.
It's just the best, isn't it?
Like, it's the best fun thing. It's not very good in a practical sense. What are you going to do with history afterwards?
No idea.
Yeah, exactly.
I've no idea.
Right, so you were like, I'm going to do something history, and you had nothing.
You could do politics. The fact that the Republican and Democrat like symbols, they were propaganda given from opposite sides of the political spectrum. The Democrats the elephant, right? It was basically saying, oh, the Democrats are these old, massive, like fat, slow men who won't achieve anything. And the Democrats said that the Republicans were these like cowboy slinging donkeys who were just running around the place headlessly, like not thinking about anything. Both parties reclaimed those symbols and they're now completely accepted by the parties as like descriptions of themselves.
That's kind of cool. Like the way that we reclaimed the pink triangle for the gays.
Someone recently tried to reclaim Tory scum at the Conservative
Oh God,
Party
yeah,
concert.
I saw that.
No, but I was thinking, imagine if you're a hardline Tory Party member in your like late 60s and you walk around and you see someone wearing a Tory scum badge. You're not going to immediately think, yeah, partner. you're gonna think it's someone insulting you. I think it's just ridiculous. You can't have scum as a reclaimed word.
Well, what about the word queer then?
Oh.
Because we reclaimed the word queer.
I think that queer was used particularly in that context, whereas scum is obviously not a word exclusive to the Tories. It's a word that has been used to describe negative things about loads of people throughout history.
Sure, but then like you've intentionally put the word Tory in front of it to associate the two.
I don't know. I mean, the logic is kind of sound. I just think it's so funny.
It is. What were your interviews like?
So I applied to Brasenose, so I obviously interviewed there first, and that was like, I felt it was a bit disheartening, that one. I don't think it went well. They didn't seem very interested in what I had to say. So then obviously I did the Somerville one after that, and the difference was like pretty immense. They all seemed actually interested in what I'd written down, the written work you submitted, and they were asking about the EPQ and my personal statement and stuff like that, and it felt like more, everyone tells you it's meant to be like a conversation. The Somerville one actually felt like a conversation opposed to the Brazen one, it felt like job interviewee kind of a thing.
Nice.
So obviously I'm very glad that when I did get in, I actually got into some of them.
Yeah. Did they give you any wacky questions?
They basically just threw me in the deep end, and they wanted to talk about some part of history that I was meant to know nothing about. So I think they asked me about Himalayan Muslims in the 15th century.
So what did you have to say?
They just wanted to ask about the sort of methods of recording and how we're meant to know about the things from the different sources. So it wasn't like I was meant to like know all the facts about them. It's more like they identify.
It was like methodology stuff.
That kind of
thing. How about you? Any interesting interview stuff?
So much. They asked me in my last interview how many elections were in carbon. It's a very, very easy question. I said 6. 6 is not the right answer. They asked me again, and I was just really panicking, and I said 10.
Wait, let me work this. How many electrons
They asked
are in?
how many in the outer shell.
I never did. I didn't even do chemistry GCSE.
It's 4.
Oh,
It's one of
okay.
the most like basic things in chemistry that you're meant to know, and I just blanked it twice. And I was so done for the entirety of that interview. They were asking me other questions about some weird geometry. And I study chemistry. I'm terrible at maths. And I did 2 maths interviews and like 2 chemistry interviews.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually the thing. My friend is a chemistry professor, and he said, one tip for anyone wanting to study chemistry at Oxford, make sure you're really good at maths.
I'm terrible at maths.
Because there's so much maths in first year. Good luck with that.
I'm so excited.
My economics one was slightly different, so I had one economics and then one philosophy and politics together. My economics one was quite specific. I haven't studied economics before, I didn't have to. And they just gave me a sheet with like game theory problems and labour markets and supply and demand stuff. The coolest thing in the economics one was like a specific game theory question with like trying to pick up the most amount of balls in an amount of time. And I think I got that all wrong, because then afterwards I was like, no, that's not the strategy I needed to take. But I really like the philosophy and politics one, because they asked me 2 completely open-ended, really annoying questions, which was how do you define liberty, and then for philosophy it was how do you define value.
So how do you define liberty?
I ended up getting onto the amount of freedoms that people have that don't interrupt the rest of other people's freedoms. The more things that you're free to do, the more that you're going to interfere with other people's freedoms.
Yep.
If you allowed a completely free society, I'd have every right to steal Tom's bag. He's lost the freedom to ownership over that bag.
Yeah.
So there are contradictions.
So is liberty a self-contradicting term?
I don't think it is.
Okay.
I think if you adopt a methodology of trying to allow as much liberty as possible in a society, then you eventually get to a contradictory point. Liberty by itself, when you're trying to find that, you're basically trying to position yourself on how much liberty you want to allow. I mean, it's quite an important thing, because it's where you get the clash at the moment between freedom of speech and freedom of representation, and how these freedoms can actually like interact with each other when they wouldn't seem like they normally would by definition.
Liberty is a bubble of our own rights, and as soon as it bump into someone else's bubble or start overlapping with it, then it's no longer within the kind of self-contained definition of liberty. A tip for people wanting to study your subject, perhaps?
Don't be overwhelmed by your first reading list. It's going to be long, but that's okay. You don't have to read everything.
Don't study chemistry, but if you do, I've been told there is a OneDrive link somewhere.
Learn how to read before you get here. My reading speed is abysmal. It's going to be a rough few years.
And learn how to skim read. In general, like, most of the stuff they set you won't all be relevant. You need to like Control F or Command F, whatever. Find relevant keywords in the text and read that. Because my reading speed's also abysmal. It takes me so long to read. Like a 30-page article takes me a day if I just read the whole thing. I study law, I need to be doing 7 of these a day. It's lovely to meet you.
Yeah, it was really good to meet you too.
Let me get you some chocolate. Oh, well, there's chocolate there.